Have you ever wondered why some people learn English so fast, while others, no matter how hard they try, keep forgetting words, keep hesitating, keep getting stuck in the same sentences again and again? It's not about talent. It's not about grammar books. It's not even about practice time. It's about your brain, and the way it's trained to learn, store, and express a new language. Your brain is not lazy. It's just wired according to your past experiences. If you were told that English is hard, if you were laughed at when you tried to speak, if you ever felt fear or shame while learning, your brain connected English with pain. And the moment your brain feels pain, it stops learning. So before you can speak English faster, you need to reprogram your brain. You need to remove the emotional blocks that tell your mind, you can't do this. Because the truth is, your brain is designed to learn languages naturally. It's your fear that interrupts the process. Let's start by hacking that fear. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine yourself speaking English freely, without translating in your head, without worrying about grammar, without that nervous heartbeat. Just confidence, flow, and calm. That version of you already exists. You're not trying to create it. You're just waking it up. When you were a child, you didn't learn your first language by studying grammar rules. You listened. You copied sounds. You made mistakes. You learned emotionally, not logically. But as adults, we stop learning emotionally. We overthink. We analyze every word. We want perfection. And that's when our brain becomes slow. So, here's the first brain hack. Stop studying English like a subject. Start absorbing it like music. When you listen to a song you love, you don't memorize the lyrics word by word. You just feel the rhythm. And your brain automatically stores it. The same rule applies to English. Don't try to memorize. Just listen, feel, and let your brain do what it's naturally built to do. Let me tell you a short story. There was a student named Ayan. He was one of the brightest students in his class. But he had one big fear, speaking English. Every time the teacher asked him to say something in English, his mind froze. He knew the words. He knew the sentences. But nothing came out. One day, during a school event, he had to introduce himself in front of a large audience. He had practiced all night. But when the moment came, he forgot everything. People laughed. His friends whispered. And that single moment made him believe he could never speak English confidently again. Weeks passed. Months passed. He avoided English completely. But deep inside, he still wanted to change. One night, Ayan found a video that said, "Your brain learns faster when it feels safe." Something clicked. He realized his problem wasn't English. It was fear. So he started reprogramming his brain. Every morning, he stood in front of the mirror and said, "I am safe when I speak English." He didn't just repeat the words, he felt them. Then he began listening to English every day. Not textbooks. Not grammar rules. But emotional, real stories. He let his brain absorb patterns naturally. He stopped forcing it. He trusted it. And slowly, something magical happened. Sentences started coming out automatically. Words he never memorized appeared at the right time. His fluency started flowing like music. What changed? He hacked his brain. He removed fear from learning. That's the same thing you can do. Here's the second hack. Use emotions to remember faster. Your brain doesn't remember boring information. It remembers what makes you feel. That's why you remember a sad movie scene or a song from years ago. But forget the grammar rule you studied last week. So, if you want to speak English faster, connect emotions to what you learn. Don't just read a sentence like, "I'm happy." Close your eyes and feel happiness. Smile while saying it. Act it out. When your emotion connects with your sentence, your brain locks it in permanently. You see, your brain is not your enemy. It's your most powerful ally. If you know how to use it. Every word, every accent, every confident tone comes from a trained mind, not a perfect one. So stop judging yourself for every mistake. Each mistake is proof that your brain is learning faster than before. Because mistakes mean your mind is trying. And the brain only learns through trying, not avoiding. You were not born with limits. You were trained to believe in them. Every time you said, "I can't speak English well," your brain quietly replied, "Okay, I'll stop trying." The brain always listens. It believes whatever you tell it repeatedly. That's why the most powerful language in the world is not English. It's the language you use to talk to yourself. When you say, "I'm improving," your brain begins to wire new neural paths. The same way it did when you learned to walk, to read, or to use your first phone. So, the third hack is simple yet life-changing. Change the language of your thoughts. Stop saying, "I don't know how to speak." Start saying, "I'm training my brain to speak better every day." Because what you say to yourself becomes a command. And your brain always obeys commands. Every time you speak English, you're not only using memory. You're activating emotion, rhythm, and body movement. That's why confident speakers don't just use words. They use their whole energy. So when you speak, don't stay still like a statue. Move your hands. Use facial expressions. Smile when you say positive words. This signals to your brain that you're safe. That communication is natural. And the fear circuit starts to shut down. You're literally retraining your neurons to associate English with confidence. That's hack number 4. Use body movement to hack your brain. Neuroscientists call it embodied cognition. It means your body teaches your brain how to feel. If you stand tall, breathe slowly, and smile while speaking English, your brain will believe you're confident, even before you actually are. Over time, confidence stops being fake. It becomes real. Now let's talk about focus. The secret ingredient behind fluency. Every time you switch between apps, check messages, or think about grammar mistakes while learning, your brain loses focus. And once focus breaks, learning slows down by almost 50%. Your brain learns language best in what scientists call the flow state. It's that moment when you forget everything else and feel completely absorbed in what you're doing. When you watch a movie without subtitles, listen to a podcast, or speak with a friend in English, and time just flies. That's the flow state. And in that state, your brain wires new language faster than in any classroom. So the 5th hack is this. Protect your focus like treasure. Learn in short, intense bursts. 15 to 20 minutes of pure attention is more powerful than 2 distracted hours. When you learn with focus, your brain starts connecting sounds, meanings, and emotions automatically. That's how native-like fluency is built. Not from rules, but from patterns your mind catches subconsciously. Remember Ayan, the student who once froze on stage, months after he started using brain hacks. Something incredible happened. His teacher asked him to give a short English speech in class again. This time, his heartbeat was still fast. But he smiled. He walked to the front of the room, took a deep breath, and said, "Good morning, everyone." The words came naturally. Not perfect, but free. He shared his thoughts for 2 minutes straight. With emotion, with mistakes, but with confidence. When he finished, the class clapped. Not because he spoke perfect English, but because he spoke with courage. In that moment, Ayan realized he wasn't just learning English. He was learning how to believe in himself again. That's what happens when you hack your brain. You stop chasing words and start building confidence. So here's another truth your brain needs to hear. You already know enough English to speak. You just need to unlock it. The words are there. They're waiting in your memory. But your fear keeps the door closed. Every time you listen to English. Every time you repeat out loud. Every time you try even when it's hard. You're turning the key. One day, that door will open fully. And English will start flowing out of you. The same way your first language did. Naturally, effortlessly, beautifully. That day isn't far. It's waiting for your persistence. So now, repeat after me in your heart. My brain learns faster every day. I speak English with confidence. I'm not afraid to make mistakes. I am reprogramming my mind for success. Let these words sink in. Because your brain listens. And when it listens enough times, it begins to believe. And when your brain believes, everything changes. Every day, your brain records thousands of details. Voices, images, smells, feelings. But it only keeps what it finds important. That's why you can remember a painful moment from years ago, yet forget the new English word you learned yesterday. Your brain doesn't decide by logic. It decides by emotion. So if you want your brain to remember English faster, you must make it emotionally important. That's the next hack. Make English personal. Don't just learn phrases from books. Connect them to your own life. Instead of saying, I went to the market, say, I went to the market with my best friend last Sunday. Instead of memorizing words like success or failure, write sentences that describe your journey with those words. When English becomes your story, your brain stops rejecting it. It starts protecting it. Because now, it's not just language. It's part of you. You see, your subconscious mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant grows silently. Without effort, without noise, without warning. Every time you listen to English audio while walking. Every time you think in English before sleeping. You are planting seeds. You may not see the growth today. But one day, you'll start speaking a sentence you never consciously learned. And that's when you'll realize. Your brain was working for you the entire time. That's how powerful the subconscious is. So the next hack is simple. Expose your brain to English daily, even when you're not studying. Put your phone in English. Change your YouTube captions to English. Listen to English podcasts before bed. Read short English quotes when you wake up. You don't need pressure. You need consistency. Because consistency teaches your brain one message. This is important. And your brain always gives energy to what it believes is important. Let's talk about the science behind it. Inside your brain, there are tiny pathways made of neurons. When you learn a new word, a new connection forms. If you repeat that word a few times, the connection strengthens. If you ignore it, the connection weakens and fades. So fluency isn't about how many words you know. It's about how strong your neural connections are. The stronger the connection, the faster the recall. The faster the recall, the smoother the speech. That's why repeating words with emotion and purpose is far more powerful than memorizing lists mechanically. You're not just learning English. You're rewiring your brain. Now listen carefully to this. Your brain doesn't learn in silence. It learns in rhythm. That's why people who sing or repeat aloud remember faster. The rhythm activates both sides of your brain, the logical and the creative, making memory twice as strong. So here's your next hack. Speak aloud, even when you're alone. Don't just read silently. Speak to your reflection. Narrate what you're doing. Describe your morning routine in English. At first, it will feel strange. But soon your brain will stop translating and start thinking in English. That's when fluency truly begins. Not when you learn new words, but when English becomes your thinking language. Now let's address something most learners never realize. Your energy changes how you learn. When you study while tired, angry, or distracted, your brain absorbs less. But when you're curious, inspired, or emotionally moved, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical that makes memory stick faster. So before every study session, Try this simple reset. 1. Take a deep breath. 2. Sit up straight. 3. Close your eyes and imagine yourself speaking English freely in front of others. 4. Smile gently. This 30-second ritual tells your brain, I'm safe, I'm ready, and I'm excited to learn. It sounds simple, but it creates a powerful shift inside, because your emotional state is the gateway to your learning speed. There's another reason people struggle. They focus only on results, not identity. When you say, I'm trying to learn English, your brain sees you as someone still struggling. But when you say, I'm an English speaker in progress, your identity changes, and your actions follow. Your brain always aligns with your identity. So start telling yourself, I am an English speaker. Not someday. Not after I'm perfect. But now. Because your brain becomes what you believe. Do you remember how children learn? They don't compare themselves. They don't care about mistakes. They don't say, I can't speak. They just play, copy, and laugh. That's the natural state of learning. And that's the state you need to return to. So, the next hack is, learn playfully, not painfully. Watch English comedy. Sing English songs. Act out movie lines. Enjoy the process. Because when you enjoy it, your brain stays open. When you fear it, your brain shuts down. And remember, fluency is never about speed. It's about comfort. When you start feeling comfortable in English, speed will follow automatically. Here's a small daily routine to train your brain effortlessly. Sunrise morning 5 minutes. Listen to one English motivational quote or affirmation aloud. Repeat it and visualize the meaning. Sunset afternoon, 10 minutes. Watch one short English video on a topic you love. Not because you should, but because it excites you. Crescent moon night, 5 minutes before bed. Think about your day in English. Even if your sentences are broken, it doesn't matter. This practice locks English inside your subconscious overnight. That's how fluency builds. Not from pressure, but from rhythm. You're no longer just a student. You're a mind trainer. Every minute you spend learning is shaping new connections in your brain. Don't doubt the process. Just keep showing up. Because every word you hear, every sentence you speak, every mistake you correct, it's all building the invisible foundation of your future fluency. And one day, when you least expect it, your brain will surprise you. You'll open your mouth, and English will flow effortlessly. Clear, confident, and free. He stopped blaming his memory. He stopped saying, I can't learn. Instead, he whispered, my brain is learning every moment. He didn't know. But this small sentence was rewiring his brain's belief system. Because your brain listens to every word you say. Every doubt becomes a command. Every belief becomes a program. If you say, I forget words easily, your brain accepts it. It won't even try to remember. But if you say, my brain stores English naturally, it opens new pathways, new energy, new focus. That's how your brain learns. Not through fear, but through emotion. When he studied, he stopped memorizing like a robot. He began feeling the words. When he heard dream, he remembered his dream to speak confidently. When he read journey, he saw his own struggle in that word. Each word started having life. Each phrase carried emotion. And slowly, English stopped being a subject. It became a part of him. Your brain doesn't learn with pressure. It learns with emotion. That's why you remember sad songs, heartfelt scenes, and inspiring quotes. But forget grammar rules. Emotion is the code of memory. So if you want to learn English faster, stop studying only with logic. Start studying with feeling. Listen to voices that inspire you. Watch stories that move your heart. Speak sentences that mean something to you. That's how you hack your brain. That's how you grow. One day, he stood in front of his mirror again. But this time, he didn't freeze. He smiled and said, "I am not afraid anymore." He spoke slowly. His accent wasn't perfect. His grammar wasn't flawless. But his confidence was alive. And that confidence, that vibration of belief, is what your brain needs to grow faster. You see, learning English is not just about vocabulary. It's about identity. If you keep saying, "I'm not good at English," you are rejecting a new identity. But when you say, "I am becoming fluent," you are stepping into it. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity. It means your brain is always changing, growing new cells, creating new paths, and forming new habits. Every time you repeat a sentence, you make that path stronger. Every time you visualize yourself speaking, your neurons fire the same way, as if you are actually speaking. That's why top speakers visualize before they speak. That's why confident people rehearse in their mind. Their brain learns before their mouth moves. So tonight, before you sleep, see yourself speaking English. See yourself confident. See people listening to you with respect. Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It just learns what you show it. He started doing the same. Before sleeping, he imagined himself giving a presentation. In his dream, he was calm, fluent, unstoppable. And when he woke up, he felt different. Not fluent yet, but ready. That's the power of the subconscious mind. It doesn't argue with you. It simply follows the images you feed it. So feed it courage. Feed it progress. Feed it faith. One morning, he went to class. And the teacher asked, "Who will explain this paragraph in English?" His heart raced. But he raised his hand. His voice trembled at first. But then something magical happened. His mind didn't go blank. His words didn't vanish. He spoke, slowly but clearly. And when he finished, his classmates clapped. Not because he was perfect, but because he was brave. That day, he learned something no book teaches. Courage rewires the brain faster than fear. From that day, he practiced one rule. Never study when you're tired or angry. Because when your brain is stressed, it blocks new learning. But when it's calm, it absorbs knowledge like a sponge. So he made a new routine. He studied for short bursts. 20 minutes of focus. 5 minutes of rest. That small change doubled his progress in 1 month. Now listen carefully. Because this part is for you. Your brain is not your enemy. It's your most powerful ally. But you have to understand its language. Your brain loves patterns. It learns through rhythm, repetition, and reward. So when you learn new words, don't just read them. Speak them out loud. Write them. Use them in real sentences. Reward yourself when you remember. That's how you activate dopamine, the motivation chemical. Every small success, every small, "Yes, I got it," moment, releases dopamine. And your brain wants to learn more. So stop saying, "I have to study." Start saying, "I get to train my brain." You see, people who master English don't have better brains. They have better beliefs. They don't force learning. They flow with it. They make mistakes and laugh. They learn like children. They repeat until their brain says, "I know this sound. I know this word." That's how mastery is born. Through joy, not pressure. He kept practicing this mindset. Every day. He listened to podcasts while walking. He repeated phrases quietly to himself. He smiled when he made mistakes. And one evening, while watching an English video, he realized he didn't need subtitles anymore. That was the day his brain unlocked a new level. Not because of luck, but because of daily rewiring. Your brain is a garden. Every word you plant grows with attention and patience. If you keep saying, "I can't," you are watering weeds. If you say, "I can, I will, I must," you are watering dreams. Choose your water wisely. If you're still struggling, it's okay. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 10. You're learning something powerful. A new voice. A new identity. A new way to think. That takes time. But it's worth it. Because every sentence you speak, every mistake you make, every small victory you achieve, is proof that your brain is learning faster than you think. He didn't stop there. He knew one truth. If you don't use your skill, your brain deletes it. So he began teaching. Not in a classroom, but to his friends, his younger brother, even to the mirror. When you teach, you learn twice. Because your brain organizes thoughts. To explain them clearly, he started saying, "Let me show you how easy this is." And in that moment, his fear turned into power. He wasn't just learning English now. He was becoming a leader. You see, leadership doesn't begin when you become fluent. It begins when you take responsibility for your growth. Every time he explained something, his confidence doubled. He wasn't afraid of mistakes anymore. He was grateful for them. Because each one was a sign of progress. The people who once laughed at his accent now asked him for help. The same teacher who once ignored him now praised his courage. He smiled quietly. Not with pride, but with peace. Because he knew he had hacked his brain. You can do the same. Start by respecting your effort. Don't punish yourself for slow progress. Your brain grows in silence. Just like a seed underground. You may not see the roots forming. But one day, you'll speak a sentence fluently and realize it was growing all along. Remember this. Confidence comes before fluency, not after. If you wait to be perfect before you speak, you'll never speak. Perfection is not the goal. Connection is. Your brain learns better when it feels safe, when it feels proud, when it feels joy. So smile when you speak. Laugh when you forget. Keep going when you fail. Every positive emotion creates a stronger neural link. One day, he was invited to a small event. It was called Speak Without Fear. He was nervous again. His heart beat faster. His hands shook. But he remembered his first mirror speech. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and said to himself, "My brain knows this. I am ready." He went on stage, looked at the crowd, and started sharing his journey. The first few lines were slow. But then his voice found rhythm. People were listening. Some were even smiling. He didn't give a perfect speech, but he gave a real one. And when he finished, the applause was louder than he ever imagined. That night, he didn't celebrate the claps. He celebrated the courage. Because courage is what rewires the brain faster than any book. It's what replaces fear with confidence. He wrote in his diary, "I didn't just learn English. I learned myself." That's the power of mindset. When you stop fighting your brain and start training it with love, it changes everything. Your brain doesn't grow with pressure. It grows with purpose. So the next time you sit to study, don't say, "I must learn this." Say, "I am grateful I get to learn this." That small shift changes your chemistry. It changes your energy. It changes your results. Now imagine this. You wake up tomorrow, and before touching your phone, you say, "Today my brain will learn faster." Then you study for 20 minutes. With full attention. No scrolling. No distractions. Just focus. Your brain will reward you with energy and clarity. Do this every day, and your results will multiply, because consistency is the language of the brain. He built that habit. Every morning, he studied for 25 minutes. He used one simple rule. Do it now, even if it's small. At first, it felt slow. But after 30 days, he could feel the change. He could think in English, dream in English, and even argue in English. That's when he realized. You don't learn English word by word. You learn it thought by thought. Your brain connects everything. When you say a word, it links to emotion, sound, and experience. That's why you should never memorize blindly. Always attach meaning to what you learn. When you learn the word hope, remember what you hope for. When you say success, feel your dream coming true. That emotion turns information into memory. One evening, his younger brother asked, "How did you become so fluent?" He smiled and said, "I stopped learning English. I started learning how my brain works." That's the secret. Your mind is not lazy. It's just untrained. You can train it to focus, to learn faster, to stay calm, to repeat without boredom. All it takes is awareness. Now let's talk to your brain directly. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath and repeat after me. My brain is powerful. My brain learns easily. I speak English with confidence. I am proud of my growth. I am becoming fluent every day. Say it again. Feel it. Don't just repeat, believe. Because when belief enters emotion, your subconscious starts building new circuits. This is not magic. This is neuroscience. He used this technique too. Every night, before sleeping, he repeated those affirmations. In 1 month, his tone changed. In 2 months, his confidence doubled. In 3 months, his English transformed. Not because of miracles, but because of mindset. Your brain listens when you speak to it kindly. Never say, "It's too late." The brain never stops learning. It can rewire itself at any age. All it needs is repetition, emotion, and belief. So even if you're 30, 40, or 50, you can still learn faster than before. Because experience gives wisdom. And wisdom makes learning deeper. He later started helping others who struggled like he once did. Students who felt embarrassed. Workers who feared speaking in meetings. He told them his truth. Your accent is not your weakness. Your silence is. When you speak, your accent shows your journey. And your journey is beautiful. Don't hide it. Honor it. Grow with it. Slowly, he became an example in his community. Not because he was a genius, but because he was consistent. And that's the final hack. Consistency trains the brain faster than any method. Even 15 minutes daily is more powerful than 3 hours once a week. Because the brain learns best in small, regular doses. He looked back at his journey. From a boy who couldn't say hello to a man teaching others how to speak with confidence. He smiled. Not because he reached the end, but because he found the path. And that's all you need. The right path, the right mindset, and the right voice inside you, saying, "I can do this." And now, I want you to say it too. Right now. Say it with me. I can do this. I am learning faster every day. My brain is my friend. My progress is unstoppable. Because it's true, Sana. It's already happening. Your brain is listening. It's learning. It's rewiring. And one day soon, you'll speak without fear. And people will listen. Not to your English, but to your energy. Because that's what real fluency is. Not just words, but power.